Hi, welcome to F50 Global Insight, Wave 2. This session, we have a great founder who recently raised over $15 million. It's very impressive, and they do online testing on COVID-19 virus. But before that, I want to introduce my co-host, Amit.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Amit Saha. I am a research engineer at Stanford University School of Medicine. And currently I work on chronic fatigue syndrome. Thank you, David.
Okay, great. I want to introduce our speaker to introduce himself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Poorya Sabounchi. I'm a co-founder and COO of Ixlayer. Ixlayer is a precision health testing platform. We were founded 3 years ago. We were in the field of precision medicine, and we power delivery of precision health testing to health systems, health companies, pharmaceuticals.
So I heard that you recently raised about $50 million, and it looks like the remote testing probably is not people were expecting like even 3 months ago. But suddenly there's a very strong demand. So maybe you can tell us about your platform. What do you offer, particularly related to this virus?
Yeah, our platform is basically offering complex diagnostic testing. We integrate to many service providers. So these include labs, physicians, counselors, and any service that is required to have an end-to-end experience of at-home testing. We've been in the business for 3 years now. Most of our customers have been in the genetic testing space. But recently with the COVID-19 pandemic, we saw a demand in switching, basically enabling testing for this space. So we created a new platform. We haven't done any PR on it. We just wrote a blog on our website. Now a lot of labs are reaching out to us, trying to integrate with our platform. And then we are also seeing a lot of demand from the providers, health systems and providers who want to use our platform to offer testing for their patients.
Great. So I have a question for you. Just 1 second. I don't know what's happening here. Is this me? Or I don't think so. Anyway, so one question for you. So now that you guys are considering the COVID-19 sphere, right? So as you may be aware, a lot of different companies are now racing to provide fast diagnostic, right? Of course, there are standard platforms currently available, and some people are trying to improve that. But there are also companies which are trying to do like things completely new, right? So I'm curious as to what happens when let's say a company X or company Y comes up with a new assay, and how does that fit into your pipeline, and especially for smaller companies, new startups who are coming up with this novel technology, how can they benefit from this, and consequently, how can patients benefit from integration into your system?
Very good question. So let me first answer the first part regarding new innovations and new assays. Actually, my background is biomedical engineering. I work on development assays. I was at a company called Illumina on next-gen DNA sequencing, and I invented some of the technologies that went to the instrument called iSeq. So I've been in the assay development space myself, and I know there are many new innovations in that space. Right now, the standard of care for COVID-19 testing, it's based on a test, it's a qPCR test, which only look for one region of the gene on that virus, and then they say, okay, you have or you don't have virus. However, there are new assays coming to market based on different technologies. Most of them use next-gen sequencing, but there are other platforms as well that they can tell patients that, okay, if you don't have this virus, you might have other viral infections, or they can basically tell the strains of the virus. As you might have read in the news, the virus is not just one molecule. It's actually changing into different strains, and with a detailed technology like DNA sequencing, actually you can do epidemiological research on that. And the way new innovations and assays can utilize our platform is if there is a clinical validation. So our platform is a regulated platform where we are under HIPAA, and any clinical testing that we offer has to be CLIA validated. And more than that, for this COVID-19 specifically, there is also an FDA mandate that it has to get EUA authorization. So if innovation around assays is clinically validated within a lab, then a clinical lab who's supporting that, we introduce them to some of existing labs that we are integrated in, so they can basically test it, and they can go to our platform.
Yeah,
to answer your second question for patients, we have created a platform where actually patients can request testing also from their providers, the physicians. So if a physician is utilizing our platform, then we make it very easy for patients. So everything that we have developed is patient-centered. So the patient experience is of utmost importance for us. And we basically educate the patient from every step of the process.
Okay, great. Thank you. Up to you, David.
So from the funding standpoint, since you recently received $50 million, so who are you competing with? Since there are larger companies also developed testing solutions, including Stanford, including some big pharma companies. So I want to understand the landscape a little bit.
Yeah, thank you, David. So I want to clarify, we haven't raised 50 million. We have only raised $2.3 million, but we are we are cash flow positive. From day one, we were starting generating revenue from different customers. So we didn't need to raise as much money.
That's good.
Yes. In terms of the competition, yes, there are many competitors in this space. There are two big names in the diagnostics industry. One of them is LabCorp, one of them is Quest Diagnostics. But their method is basically offering to hospitals, and their model is very different. We are a software as a service platform where we enable smaller labs who don't have the outreach that LabCorp, for example, has, or smaller companies, organizations, health organizations that want to have testing based on their own brand. They can utilize our service. So one of the biggest values that we bring in this market is that we enable our customers to offer testing based on their own brand. We don't do testing ourselves. We connect to the labs who do testing, but we enable our customers to offer their own brand, and patients don't even see Ixlayer name. We are basically a backend system that power everything in this ecosystem.
I see. So in that case, still, who are you competing with?
So there are many players, as I said. There's another company that is based in Texas. They just announced they're going to roll out with a test in Time Magazine. It's called Everlywell. They're using the test based on their own brand. Again, we enable companies. And then Quest Diagnostic, LabCorp are examples of competitors in this space.
I see. Got it. So,
to answer your question about UCSF, yes, UCSF, Stanford, they're all having their labs, and we have actually customers in that space. So they're like universities that are using our platform for precision health testing.
So what about like after 1 month later? Right now, I believe last few weeks, everyone is rushed to figure out how to deploy testing solutions. But after the testing solution is done, where are your opportunities?
So, so we think actually because of this COVID-19, there is a major shift that is happening within the diagnostics world. So right now, we are being approached by insurers and payers of this health industry that they want to utilize our platform to basically bring to bring a clinic to home. So they want to use basically bring delivery of primary care to home, because as you might have heard in the news right now, there is a surge of utilizing telemedicine. So patients and our physicians are not seeing each other. You know, if you're at home and then you have a condition, you can utilize telemedicine with your own physician to basically you know, get care. Unless your situation is very critical that you have to go to a clinic, to a hospital. Now, the same model is going to happen with the testing. So you used to go to a clinic as a patient and your doctor says, okay, go to lab and then take your sample, urine, saliva, blood, and then they send it to lab. But if you're staying at home and your delivery of care is at home and your physician is seeing you at home, basically the test can come to you. So there will be a kit sent to your home, your doctor's orders it, you basically do your clinical sample, blood, saliva, urine, whatever sample it is, and then that kit is shipped back to the lab, and lab does testing and upload the result to Ixlayer platform, and Ixlayer send that results to the physician, and physician can release it to you as a patient.
I see. Got it. So in terms of the community, we have a very large community of entrepreneurs and investors, and also many health tech professionals. Where can the community help you?
Spreading the word. So we are still a small company in terms of our resources to do a lot of PR. We haven't done PR. We are still trying to reach out to basically to the world and telling the world that, hey, there is this service that you can come utilize for your patients or your providers. So just and then for entrepreneurs, they can come in. We have an API system. They can utilize our platform to basically do API integration with us and offer complementary services. We are only in the testing space. We don't do telemedicine. We don't do other forms of healthcare delivery. And then there's a lot of innovation that we can complement.
Okay, so just now you said you're, from an investor perspective, you said you're cash flow positive. You're not raising money in the nearer term, but what's your midterm capital plan? Do you have any needs for investors?
We have communicated to our existing investors that we plan to go to market in the middle of this year to raise our Series A. And right now we're talking to some Series A investors, basically seeing how they can help us, because as an investor, what's important is not just the cash. And our existing investors have been very helpful for us. Actually, one of them is my friend, who is your friend, David, and she referred me to you to join this event. So just having good investors who help you basically create new value for the company is very important, more than the cash. That's why we're looking for.
I have one more last question. Do you support customers outside of the United States?
So right now we have two customers. One of them is offering testing in not for COVID. It's a different genetic test. They're offering it in Mexico. We are launching an Alzheimer genetic testing in Japan. We announced it last month. And yes, we offer our service because we are a cloud platform and we are agnostic to the location, as long as we can basically see which lab we can do on that specific country, because the samples cannot go from one country to the other country. Yes, we can basically enable international easily.
Okay, got it. Really appreciate. Thanks for the time. You can send your material to us. We can help to maybe share to our network as well. I really appreciate your time today.
Thank you, David, and thank you, Amit. Have a good one.
Thank you. Bye-bye.